everybody. Welcome to another Treknado commentary. I am Captain Logan.
And I am Brandon.
And I'm Adam.
And today we're tackling Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. We're finally caught up to me and Sarah from our original run of these movies. We did the first three, and we were going to do Voyage Home. And quick story, I hate to start things on a dour, sad note, but I want to get this out of my system before we get rolling. At one time, Tim Lyons and I were going to pick back up where Sarah and I left off. And we were going to start with Star Trek IV and move our way forward. And he thought it would be fun to do a commentary series where it was a sort of Trekspert, somebody that knew a lot of Star Trek and somebody that was just a casual fan. And we planned it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Tim and I kept planning to get together, and things fell through, and it never happened. And at one point, Good Plot made a design for it, and there is a Good Plot picture of me and Tim. I'm Spock with the robe, and Tim is the punk on the bus.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a great picture. We never got to use it, and then last October Tim passed away, and we were never able to do it. And it's super sad. But anyway, so finally, this is a weird one for me because I've been meaning to get back to this series forever, and finally we're caught up and we can do Star Trek IV. And B, it's kind of a sad, bittersweet thing for me because I was supposed to do this with Tim Lyons, and I hate that didn't end up working out. But we are going to have a lot of fun today, I am sure.
Absolutely.
And Star Trek IV is certainly one of my favorite Star Trek movies.
Yes.
It's one that is sometimes a little bit divisive amongst the Star Trek community just because it's not, for some people, enough of a Star Trek movie. I've never agreed with that.
I don't agree with that.
I would have to disagree with them as well.
It is such a great throwback to
original series.
The to the comedic episodes of TOS, to Trouble with Tribbles and episodes like that.
Right.
And
And
Piece of the Action.
And
the time travel episodes. And it's funny because con and time travel are the 2 big things we can't get away from with the Star Trek movies, and that's because before we got to Abrams, the 2 highest-grossing Star Trek movies. Well, I think First Contact might have beaten Wrath of Khan finally. I forget.
But
I don't think not if you don't factor in inflation. I think Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay. I haven't gone back and looked at the numbers, but I know that Star Trek IV was the highest-grossing Star Trek movie until 09 came out.
It was.
Oh wow.
Even with First Contact, which did pretty well.
I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. And so that's part of why we can't get past con or time travel. And when I say con, I mean the myriad times that we've felt the need to try to give somebody their own con, or have another heavy that wants revenge. In a very similar kind of con way. And Star Trek IV was, interestingly and maybe somewhat ironically, given as how popular it was an attempt at getting away from that and being a total departure. The first thing Nimoy said was, I don't want a bad guy this time. We keep doing that. And they've been fine, but we want to get past that as a formula. We did it twice in a row, let's not make this a pattern.
It was the success of this film the direct catalyst for Next Generation being produced, or they had already put those wheels in motion?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. That's actually not something I'm completely sure about. Okay. Because, I mean, this comes out a year before TNG does, so I don't know how far into production it was at the point that this came out, but it was
maybe
probably
just made
more...
or broke it.
Right.
It was probably more just Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock together, because Search for Spock still did well enough that they felt like they could give 4 a bigger budget, because 4 does have a bigger budget than 3.
It definitely does.
And Wrath of Khan. And they made it more like a movie than a TV show, where it goes on location and they use long lenses and all of that. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and start watching the movie. And I'm just going to say everything I have to say before we even get the movie started. If you want to watch it with us, get out your DVD, your Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. There's not a lot of places that are streaming the movies right now. I noticed Netflix used to have most of them.
Hulu had them, but I haven't looked.
Hulu doesn't anymore. I looked that up today, so you'll probably have to watch this one on disc, unless later on they add them back on, but at least at this moment in time, I couldn't find a great place to watch them streaming.
I'd like to get get my hands on some of the old reels and put it in a reel projector, run it that way.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Sure. I mean, you could say that about any cool old movie.
No, but like Star Trek especially, and probably 4 would be on the top of the list. 2 and 4.
Get it past all the menus, get it to timestamp 0, and get ready to press play when I say now. Are you gentlemen ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go! Everybody please press play right now!
And as I've said before, this was like the first Star Trek thing I actually watched.
Yeah. It's funny. I hear that from a lot of people, especially our age.
Yeah.
Growing up,
That's
a lot of
interesting.
people's parents loved 4 and didn't care about any of the rest of it, and that was part of the point of 4.
Right.
What from Bennett and Nimoy in conceptualizing it was, let's make a movie that is fully accessible to a wide audience. I mean, they essentially wanted to make a fun popcorn movie, and it's cool that it's not a dumb movie, but it is a really accessible, kind of for everybody commercial movie.
And I actually, it wasn't my parents that I actually saw like the commercial for it like on the USA Network, and I was like, oh, well, I want to watch
Interesting.
this. And I actually did, when I was like 7 years old or whatever.
My first introduction to Star Trek was TNG, but I also used to catch reruns of the original series on TV Land.
Yeah.
And it was always, I can remember very vividly seeing the episodes where they go to Earth-like planets and just loving it.
Which is it's kind of similar to
this was definitely the movie I saw most often.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't the one I started with, but I didn't have the thing I did with some of the other movies that I talked about before, where I confused scenes because it's, so uniquely not like the other movies, obviously.
I think that maybe we watched 6 like on video from the video store.
Even 6 I mixed up with things in
something.
3 and 4 sometimes, yeah.
But I didn't remember it, so I don't really count that as my first Star Trek experience.
Sure, yeah.
I've seen Wrath of Khan the most. This one comes in second. But it's only like, I've probably seen Wrath of Khan maybe 5-6 times, and this is just right up there.
I wonder if some writers just can't remember that Amanda has a last name. Because Amanda Grayson is very often credited just as Amanda.
Right.
Robin Curtis gets 6 seconds of screen time in
know.
this, and
she still gets a higher credit than Catherine Hicks.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
But that's not always about billing.
That's
Sometimes
true.
it's
That
just
might be like,
this is the guest star of the episode. Obviously, we'll talk about him a little bit later. Rosman's soundtrack in this is really interesting and kind of divisive.
Right.
Some people love it, some people hate it.
It's
a very not especially Star Trek kind of soundtrack. The folks I've heard that give it a lot of credit say that it's trying to harken back to those comedic scores from TOS.
That's true. I can see that.
It does do that. I think it also could use a little bit more Star Trek stuff, but obviously it doesn't make sense to be as heavy and relentless. Obviously,
you know, it reminds me of this
and even like a real sense of wonder kind of score like we get with some of 3 doesn't make a lot of sense because we're not in space, Right.
It reminds me of the soundtrack to Piece of the Action a lot.
Whimsical, yeah, absolutely.
When Kirk fakes those guys out and then they trip over the wire and stuff, and that was very lighthearted. I think this probe is really cool looking. I always thought it was really neat.
Keep in mind that this movie also exists in a time before we really knew what the rest of the universe looked like, because we hadn't had the Hubble out there taking deep field space pictures. So we really didn't have any kind of idea, so it's kind of interesting what they come up with just on the local level to throw into the... and what they envisioned everything else to look like out there.
So I've always been confused by this guy on the bridge because he looks just like the Federation president.
I think he's
that a
the
species?
same guy. Yeah, I think that's a species.
Or is that the same guy?
I don't think it's the same guy. I think it's a species.
Well, no, it's not the same guy because that was Kurtwood Smith who played
Right,
the
it's not the
president.
same guy. I don't think it's supposed to be the same character.
No,
I didn't think so either, but it sounded like that's what you were saying for a second.
No.
Just the species.
I mean, yeah, that's...
I always forget that they have slight forehead ridges.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
they reuse a lot in Next Generation.
Yeah.
This is a little crazy that they would have this.
And I think Star Trek 4 is white people remember San Francisco.
Right.
Again, kind of obviously.
White really became established.
Get out of there!
Yeah. How come you couldn't hear him saying "Get out of there, you fools"?
Because there's supposed to be body cam footage from the Klingons that they somehow recovered or something.
Was it body cam footage?
And then the only reason you can hear the explosions right now is because it's a cinematic thing where we're supposed to hear the explosions.
Yeah.
And wasn't the ship supposed to completely destroy itself?
I mean, that's hilarious because it's from, that's always for our benefit, but they're hearing the explosion sounds through speakers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of great. I've always loved his Klingon design.
Yes. This is John Schuck, who has been many science fiction things. He was also in Robert Altman's coterie of actors. He played the dentist that they called Painless in MASH, the movie.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. He also played the second, oh god, what was that guy called on Babylon 5? Drowl. Minbari.
Oh, okay.
I always thought the Federation president and this looked like Santa Claus. Look at this, what's wrong with their face? What's wrong with their face?
Yeah, of course, that's a real movie trope where we have to keep throwing in species that people have never heard of before. And that's because of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And if you hadn't had Star Wars, but you somehow still had Star Trek movies, I kind of think that we would have a lot more species that we're familiar with.
Right.
Or we would create more that we would keep running with.
Right.
It's weird that you never see a Delta again.
That's true.
Or if you do, I don't know where it is. It is nice there's an Andorian there, and
so is this supposed to be the Federation Council? Because why are there a bunch of Starfleet officers on the Federation Council?
Maybe
or is this just a
tribunal?
hearing, or is it just a tribunal?
I thought it was just a tribunal.
Maybe that's what it is. Okay.
And
then they say the Council's deliberation.
Cartwright's there. Oh yeah.
I don't know. Well, maybe it's just a public hearing. They announce the findings or something. I don't know.
That may be.
Yeah, or are there just a lot of several like high-ranking officers
in the audience
that also get to be there because Starfleet is the peacekeeping and war-making organization of the Federation, and a lot of those people are just going to happen to be humans because not a lot of aliens are in Starfleet at this point.
This is interesting because you're talking about the higher budget now, because now, and I'm pretty sure in Star Trek 3 when they went to Vulcan, it was all on the set, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now when they cut to Vulcan, it's actually on location somewhere.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure.
That's cool.
It looks like it is. When they show Spock up on the mountain,
they actually shot outside. Yeah.
So
no, that's definitely outside.
Regular Star Trek
Bounty.
ships.
Because they're clearly using natural lighting.
And that joke, I had the pan and scan VHS, and the joke was completely cut off.
What
you couldn't see HMS Bounty.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't read what it was supposed to say.
No, I never knew. Yeah, I never knew what it said either. I learned that from a trivia book.
Yeah. Until the Blu-ray, I was like, oh, that's.
Yeah. What's up, Brandon?
I was just going to say, what is the joke there with
VHS.
regards to the HMS Bounty? Because regular Star Trek ships are obviously called USS.
The joke is that they're mutineers, and that was the ship.
Okay,
that was
yes, that is the mutiny aboard the HMS Bounty.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We don't give Wardrobe enough credit for that jacket that Scotty has. It's a really cool jacket.
I love that. Yeah. It's a great jacket. This whole these costumes are great. They're carried over a lot from Star Trek 3, of course, but
yeah,
a tunic. That'd be a cool costume.
But you've still got Robert Fletcher here, and he's also designing, of course, all the stuff for the
is that the Vasquez
80s
Rock
stuff? Yep, that's I think so. I think so. It's got to be, right?
It's got to be. I want to cosplay in that costume.
That one I've seen quite a bit.
Really?
Nice computer screens.
Or maybe maybe I've seen more just the one he's wearing in the 80s in this. But no, you're right. That robe's pretty cool.
Yeah.
With all the triangles.
Look at this. This is just like video game consoles. The screens are in the
tables
in the table there, and they're reflecting.
Yeah. That's great. Like teleprompters.
Yeah, it's like a teleprompter.
So apparently Roddenberry's secretary suggested that one of the questions here be to try to get Spock to disprove God.
Oh my god.
Which Bennett and what's his name? Rathcon director.
Nick Meyer.
Nick Meyer, yeah. Did not go with, which was probably smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Getting a whole slew of difficulty there.
Was that the secretary that was also his person he was having his romantic
I'm not sure.
I'm
not sure about that.
Many years.
So Meyer was brought in to write the middle portion of the movie. So Bennett, I think it's Bennett, writes the bookends. He writes the Star Trek stuff, right. and then Meyer writes the time travel stuff.
Right. Jane Wyatt has a long history in Hollywood, going back to the movie, like, she was in Lost Horizon, which is a Frank Capra movie from, like, 1937, I believe, and it was what introduced the concept of Shangri-La to the popular culture and stuff. That book.
And that is still the Amanda from
the
Journey to Babel, right?
Yes.
I do it because I was there. I've always loved that line.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the toughest challenges with this movie is making Spock sympathetic and likable, and still like alien enough and distant enough. Right?
He's not
quite himself
yet.
And I've always liked the irony of his having to go back to 20th century Earth, which is such a fish out of water thing, and just the last thing he would understand.
Right.
In order to just kind of have a wacky adventure with Kirk so they can find himself again. I mean, basically, Spock has to get away from the grand adventure of Star Trek 2 and 3 and get back to basics of original series Star Trek.
Exactly.
Which, again, is also kind of ironic. I'm using that word a lot, but I think it fits because the point of this movie was to get kind of away from the big Star Trek stuff. But it's still obviously Star Trek at its core, with its ideas, with its spirit, but it's not another big space adventure. And after 3 of these, especially starting with one that didn't have that wasn't having any fun at all,
right,
and then having a couple of others that did but were pretty heavy, it made a lot of sense to depart from that.
Right.
And it's fine. It's a fine thing to do every now and again.
Right.
You wouldn't want your very next thing to just be another comedic romp, which was some of the problem with 5.
Right.
Can we talk about this camera angle for a second? The ship starts listing to the left there, and so the camera has to tilt on board. All their systems have failed. Technically, shouldn't they be floating?
Maybe the gravity didn't fail, but maybe
they said all systems have failed. Reserve power only.
Maybe that kept the gravity working.
Life but it's reserve power, sure. But yeah, that ship is the Saratoga is of the same class that the Reliant is. I don't know what class that is. Miranda. That's right. I knew that. No, that's right.
Faves.
That's right. Once again, looks like a Chrysler.
I always thought that or at least when I first saw this as a kid, this threat seemed really like real to me for some reason.
Real quick, Yorktown was famously, of course, originally the ship, the name of the ship that Roddenberry pitched Star Trek with.
Right.
It would have been Yorktown instead of Enterprise. So every now and again, Star Trek will bring back Yorktown as an homage to that fact.
Well, they did it for the last movie too.
Right.
Did the threat to Earth in this feel like a real threat to you when you watched it as a kid? Especially when they like the special effects.
It was kind of horrifying.
Special effects, when the ocean starts ionizing.
Right.
Heck yeah.
And it's cool because of how
metaphorical.
It's to what?
To today's climate problems.
It's so. When I was a kid, it was so. Yeah, but I mean that's. Clearly, I mean the whole the whole movie is an environmental message. So yes, obviously. But yeah, it's impressive that it manages that, Adam, because it's such a vague and weird amorphous threat.
Right.
But I like how simple it is.
Right.
It's just this thing that shows up that starts talking to us, and we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's totally alien.
And it's not. And it's what makes it scary is that we can't talk to it.
Right.
What makes it scary is that it's a force of nature.
Right.
But it's also an intellect.
Right.
Or it seems to be an intellect. And so it's this big, confusing, scary thing. You know what it is? It's Doomsday Machine all over
again. It is.
I mean, that's what it is. We don't know what we're looking at. We don't know where it came from. We can't communicate with it. We don't know if it's alive.
Right.
We
call it a probe, but that's just because we don't know what it is.
Right.
So this thing is overpowering systems on board the ship that it just passed, and it starts overloading systems on Earth, and it starts ionizing the water and everything. But my question is, so why is I guess for the sake of story, but Kirk and gang, they are our illustrious heroes once again. Where's the rest of the Federation?
They all got neutralized. They say in the dialogue that any ship that approached that thing got that same thing.
Yeah, that's why they
okay.
need our crew, because everything else is decimated. Real quick, we need to talk about Savik.
Yes.
So, I always thought it was kind of a mistake not to have her go back.
Right.
With them, I guess the problem with having her go back is that you've got 2 Vulcans that you have to mask, but she wouldn't have had to come off the ship.
Right.
But maybe the idea is, well, what exactly do we do with her? But like maybe she could have just worked with Scotty. I guess it might have felt like an 8th or 9th wheel.
Right.
But the problem is, we always think of this as a trilogy, and it is in that Kurt is about to get court-martialed because of what happened with 3, and obviously what happened, his needing to run off and get Spock is because of what happens in 2, right? So in that sense, it is a trilogy.
Sure.
You get to the end of this, and he has saved Earth again, and so they drop all charges except for 1, and then he gets to be captain again, and that's the end of the movie. We'll talk about that later. But the problem is, this all feels like kind of just closing a door and opening another one, and it's pretty much just bookended with that notion. And there's nothing about the meat of the main story that makes it feel like the 3rd act of a 3-act story.
Right.
And so, like, it technically is a trilogy, and it effectively works that way. But it would be nice if Savik, who originally was supposed to be part of the new, like a new addition to the cast, ever actually really got to do that.
I know.
And we never did anything really with her. And everything, and we talked about, there's 3 big things. The first one was she was supposed to be part Romulan, and we were going to deal with that, and we never did that. The second one is with this movie, where she was supposed to be pregnant with Spock's kid, and they cut out 5 lines of dialogue that would have given us that. And if they had hung on to it, they would have been forced to deal with it later.
Sure.
And Savik is just written out after this. The third thing is that Savik was supposed to be Valeris.
Right.
We never did anything with her.
Nope.
It's really unfortunate.
It's a shame because she when she first appears, she seems to look up to Spock in quite a number of ways.
Right.
Well, yeah.
He was her mentor.
Unless retroactively it turns out that she was pretending that all along because she was really a spy or something. Had we used her instead of Valeris.
Right.
That character should have never been Vulcan. My big complaint about Valeris is we'll get there, but she should have been something else. She should have been another Vulcan female. It even looks a little bit like the Doomsday Machine.
I know.
Like, you could write a novel that connected these things and made them similar, or made them connected in some way.
Maybe they're just of the same species, but they look different.
But how come one's trying to talk to whales?
And the other one is designed specifically to kill people, and this thing is just like, I want to talk to a whale, but it's not there. What's going on? I love the sets in this movie.
Yeah,
Klingon
it's
sets.
wonderful.
They're great.
Oh, definitely.
And obviously they're great because they kept using them all the way through. I think they use them through Enterprise. At least in some ways.
Do they really?
I'm pretty sure they at least use them through the end of Voyager and stuff.
So obviously, this is part of the beginning of dealing with big mistakes we made in our past that ultimately led us to being smarter in the future and building our utopian future, right? Allowing, endangered species to die is one of the many big mistakes that we made. Polluting our air and our oceans, and then later
Nuclear
World War III.
That's
all these big mistakes that we made. But jokingly, I would love, for the real reason that there aren't humpback whales there, to not be that we accidentally let them all die or got them all killed, but that it's Douglas Adams and it's so long and thanks for all the fish. That's what I really wish it was. I wish they all just. It turned out later on that all the whales just left. But the fact that they can talk to this probe and that they're apparently an intelligent species means that's not entirely off the table. It is possible that somehow they got themselves picked up. They obviously didn't build spaceships, but they could have talked to some alien species that pulled at least some of them off. There could be whales somewhere in the universe.
But that's what I think. That's what I think it is that they come from a planet that they were put there. And the whale probe is trying to communicate with the whales.
I mean, that's one of many kinds of theories. I guess the assumption I always made, Brandon, was that you just sorry, Adam, was that it just takes a long time for the probe to get there.
Right.
And it does. It takes a very long time because
I mean, it's not going a warp or anything. But the point I'm making is, like there were whales there before, and they communicated with them, and then like 300 years later,
a long time ago.
300 years later, they finally show back up and are trying to talk to them, and they're gone. Now I don't know why that ends up destroying the planet.
Maybe that was an accidental side effect from their intensely searching for them or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think that's what it is, because as soon as the whale probe stops communicating, remember, as soon as the whale probe stops communicating, everything goes back to normal on Earth. As soon as they give it the signal and it stops sending out its own signal, everything goes fine again.
Right.
So that is
I know,
what it is.
but I'm just saying I don't know why exactly that destroys things. And importantly, like you can come up with theories,
right?
But I don't think these writers know what it is.
Well, they said earlier on that the signal is so powerful it's disrupting the system.
Right, but they didn't explain why it did that.
Well, it would be in that case, it would just be some sort of gigantic electromagnetic signal, and a signal that big.
If they're just communicating, then you'd think this would have happened before. If they ever talked
to when they visited before,
to anything in the oceans, unless they never did visit, and they just do this for sea life on a lot of different planets.
Right.
And
it's the galactic
class M planets they can talk to. I don't know.
Back before human civilization existed.
No, that's true.
And when they visited, the whales probably talked to them, and maybe they didn't.
They weren't sending out such a
giant signal and stuff.
Yeah, probably.
That's a good point. But at the end of the day, it's just a conceit to get the ball rolling.
Right.
And the reason it's whales is because Nimoy thought it would be more cinematic than something small.
Right.
Interesting.
But it's interesting that the whales, it is like real life precedent as far as potentially whales having culture like that and stuff. Like, because there's not humpback whales, but killer whales. There's like different groups of killer whales that haven't interbred for like 10,000 years, and they don't even like communicate with each other, even though they're like the same species and stuff. And they all have their own culture and they different behaviors and stuff, and it's like they scientists.
Well, the language is so complex,
right?
And we don't understand it,
right?
I just think the initial setup for this and the structure of it is kind of brilliant.
Right.
Where you have what ends up being a real small in-scale movie. I mean, it feels bigger because we get to actually go places and walk around.
Right.
But you have a relatively small in-scale movie for Star Trek where the stakes are everything.
Right. And it comes back into play later, I mean, they mention it in Star Trek 6 and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the reasons they get away with the comedy is because, and they get away with that setting, is because we're so invested in their succeeding.
Right.
And that we spend enough time with the Star Trek stuff at the beginning. This could have been 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. First Contact does not take enough time with it.
Right.
Yeah.
First Contact really needed to have taken more of its cues from this movie. I don't mean comedically, but I just mean in the way it's structured, right? The way it's organized.
I was going to say something.
So that's what he just said, Kurt. He just said that.
Time that they actually literally saved Earth, like where Earth was being directly threatened. I think you can count
motion picture.
I guess motion picture it happened too. That's right.
Yeah, they kind of saved Earth in the regular.
And then obviously, Sitting the Edge Forever.
Right, that's true too.
And this obviously was, especially conceptually, they're trying to go back to City a little bit.
Right.
And in fact, you easily could have had a similar ending from City. I'm glad they didn't redo it. And there was a pitch for another movie. We talked about this before. I think what became Wrath of Khan. Maybe there was a pitch. Yeah, there was a pitch at one time that would have also kind of done the, if memory serves, that would have done the you have to make sure the girl dies thing again or something like that. Or is it just Kennedy?
I think
maybe it's just Kennedy. Yeah, but anyway, you could have done that with Catherine Hicks in this pretty easily, right?
Yeah.
Where you get to the end and like she wants to come with them but then they say
Right.
no because it will affect the future too much if you come with us. Actually, I can see both sides of that. That's something we should talk about, if not here later on.
Right.
Any way you slice it, you're potentially affecting the future too much.
Right.
If you leave her there, she has too much information about the future.
Right.
If you take her with you, then bringing her out of the timeline could mess up time too much. And
Right.
the convenient explanation there is just, I have no one here.
Right.
No one will miss me.
Right.
Okay, can I just say something right now? It appears that the onboard computers of the Klingon vessel has access to
The
Earth
Vulcans
library.
gave them their human
Yeah.
the database and stuff.
Okay, that's
Updated
right.
everything. This set right here, this is the engine room set where Spock died.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, those monitors
Oh.
are up in the back there.
How about
So,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Just
Did you know
redress.
that with Wrath of Khan, that the Reliant set and the Enterprise set are the same set?
Yeah.
And they just
They
redress
just
it?
moved
I didn't
stuff
even know that.
around. Yeah. And they didn't even do anything with like the little corridor shots they had. You know, Jason's favorite part with the
Yeah. Yep.
So how come the computers couldn't have automatically told them that that was the sound of a humpback whale running through their
Yes.
translator service?
I don't. No, they had to analyze it because I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have that plugged right into their transmitter.
Maybe
They don't
not
talk
here,
to
but on
humpback
Earth-
whales all the time.
On Earth, they would have had, like, you know, what's it saying? They would have had
They could
anything
have done
plugged
that. I
in.
guess they could have done that on Earth.
Yeah, well, remember, it sounds a little different, and they have to slow it down, and they have to play it through water.
Right.
Hmm.
This was the first Star Trek production that Mike Okuda was involved in.
Is it
You could
really?
definitely tell with his graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
I think he came up with the design of the Klingon
Did he really?
alphabet, I believe, written
Oh,
alphabet.
yes, I knew that. I thought you were going to say the Klingon symbol, but we had that going on.
No,
back to the
that goes back
animated
to the
series.
original series.
Does it go back to the
Chapel.
original?
Yeah, I think it does.
I don't remember a place where we
Maybe
see
it
that,
doesn't.
but I know there's a couple of instances of it in the animated series, and I wonder where it came from.
It had to be in the original.
It must have been, but now that you say that, but I'm not
Nurse
sure
Chapel
where it
and
was.
Janice Ram are both in that scene.
Yeah.
I don't really know what they're doing.
They're trying to reinforce the window to
Yeah.
keep it from breaking.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So you know that transparent aluminum? Not yet.
This lady on the background there, she was like a pop singer from Europe. And like,
Why
as
do
a
you know
kid,
that?
I don't know who she is. I
That's
just know that as a
amazing.
trivia. I don't know. Humpback people. This is the dumbest question you've ever asked, Scotty. Why would they bring...
That is, yeah.
Well, he's probably thinking
That-
Quasimodo.
That's one of
I know, but why would he want to put those
that's
people
one of the
on
first
tank?
tells that were in a comedy.
Right.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
That, this is a real serious standard Star Trek movie.
Right.
Up until kind of that moment, and once we say we're doing time travel, that immediately like gives the script like a carte blanche to start doing funny things.
Right.
Of course.
I don't think it's too much of a light switch, but that is what's going on, right?
Mhm.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's almost
great.
like
Look at
the
that.
characters are self-aware enough to be like, this situation is preposterous.
Right.
This suddenly got really silly, guys.
Right.
Is kind of what Kirk is saying at that point.
This is the table from the Enterprise D control room.
Yeah.
And they just and when you see it in the beginning of Next Generation, it doesn't really look that much different than that. They didn't have the schematic on it yet and stuff, I believe.
It is funny looking back, thinking that in the 23rd century everything is analog.
Yeah.
And you have like, pixelated Kirk face, and
Yeah.
you know.
So now there's water inside the building.
Yeah, the
Everything's
humidity
leaking.
is so
Uh-huh.
crazy, yeah.
Oh, there's Sarek again. And he should know that Spock might... Does he know that Spock's on board that vessel? He wouldn't know yet, would he?
No. I don't think they knew what was going. I don't know.
I'm honestly not sure about that. Well, no, he would know that.
But
because
literally, when they come
they're-
back, it's literally seconds after this thing anyway. So,
Right, but
alright.
but remember, they're going back to Earth to be court-martialed.
Right.
That's why Sarek is there, I think.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to try to come to their defense.
And he's been there because he's already defending Kirk even before he gets there.
Right.
Because they know they were at the Genesis planet. They know that they rescued Spock.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And Amanda's there.
Right.
Oh, that's
Well, you think
true.
she's not talking to Sarek? Like,
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Oh, and he went on the search for the Katra in the first place.
Well, yeah. Remember, I mean, like, Sarek and Kirk have a conversation before he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk tells him he's going.
That's true.
I like that we called back to the way of time travel in the original series, too.
Yeah. No, there's a nice bit of continuity there.
Yeah. There's a lot of callbacks to the original series, like McCoy's revulsion of 20th century medicine, which
That's
we'll see
right.
later and stuff.
No, I would argue that this is the most TOS movie they made.
Yes.
And there's obviously, like, plenty of TOS stuff in 2 and 3.
And I like that they gave everybody something to do in this movie, too.
I like how this ship just wants to rattle apart.
It's unfortunate that we had to get to a comedy where it's kind of sitcom situations
Right.
before everybody got something to do.
Right.
And, you know, obviously, when we get to 6, like, we finally let Sulu get a ship, which was supposed to happen in, like, 2.
Right.
But, but no, I mean, it is nice that everybody gets something to do.
Woo! This is such an awesome maneuver. So are they still using? They're still using the old warp scale, yes?
I guess. Yeah.
What do you mean the old warp scale?
Because they had the old scale in the original series where they'd be like, look, we're going warp 10 and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know.
Right, but they don't say 10.
No, they don't here. But I'm just wondering how close they're getting to, because the Enterprise D can travel this fast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, they almost rock this apart. Going
No,
that
that's
fast.
true, and I that's what I.
So
was
like, this thing's
noticing.
not supposed to be able to go that fast. But
Right.
yeah, you can't say it's the old warp scale because they don't say 10.
This is some early
When they get to
CGI.
10 to 9.2, it's a big deal. They almost rock it apart. So that seems like new scale to me.
Okay.
So do you know anything about this part? Was it just, whose idea was
I
this
don't know
weird-
whose
It's
idea this was.
fascinating.
It's very weird.
I know originally that's not what it was supposed to be. I forget what it was they were going to do, but yeah, some
Very
people
strange.
some people that worked on this think that's kind of silly. That's Quantum Leap.
Scott Bakula.
No, this bugged me when I was a kid.
They're kind of
That whole thing was just really weird and super creepy. And I don't know.
It's really surreal.
It's just yeah, exactly. Whose perspective is it from? Is it Kirk?
It's just like I think the whole
Then
timeline.
this-
I think it's from
Did everybody see it?
They're
It's
all
like the
primordial
melding and going
ooze.
Is it
What
from
is
our
it?
perspective? Is
What
that
is
what
that
it
supposed
is?
to be? The primordial ooze or the humans?
They basically go to time travel warp 10,
Yeah,
Brandon,
something
or
like
at
that.
every
Well,
point
it's
of
like everything
the time
goes
at the same time.
Everything goes wishy-washy when you start getting into that type of stuff. So everything intertwines
Right, but I don't
before
know
you come
what
back out.
the heads of our characters are.
Yeah,
I don't know what that
bad
is.
80s CG.
And then there's yeah,
I don't
and
even
and
think
a
that was
whale
CG
shape.
though. I
That
think
was
those were like
CG.
statues in a cloud, filmed in a cloud.
I thought that was CG.
I'm pretty sure they CG'd that, but they look like statuesque heads. So like that's
Yeah.
kind of what they're supposed to look like. And so it's like this. It's like ancient Roman statue versions of our characters' heads as they're time traveling for some reason. That's the thing is, it's surreal, but it would almost make more sense if it was more surreal.
Yeah.
And had like a bunch of like it should have been like Sitting the Edge Forever, where it's just a bunch of images from the past, you know.
Certainly.
As they're going back in time, we should have just seen that's what I would have done. We should have just
Right.
seen shots for like here. It wouldn't have been kind of cool if we did like a shot from Wrath of Khan and a shot from Motion Picture, and then some shots from TOS, and then we went into some like actual like real footage of real life shots of things, and you had like World War II and
Right.
different things, or not World War II because we don't go back that far, but you have like like
You could have World War III. You could have done all that.
I almost said Challenger explosion. That would have been in poor
They
taste.
could have had
'cause that was just before this happened.
That was, yeah.
But you have but you have just stuff that happened.
They could have had little shots of the time between TOS and
like
1986
Khan and the Eugenics
stuff.
Wars.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been really cool. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I'm receiving whale song.
Whale song.
Huh. Because they're right directly in front of San Francisco.
They did. They flew down.
Talking about nice bits of continuity, and this is not a given necessarily, and this is part of why it has the reputation for being the third part of a trilogy, and it does absolutely deserve that. I just think they could have gone further with that.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I like the ways in which it is that.
Right.
I really appreciate the fact that they didn't try to come up with some kind of convoluted way to put them on a ship that looks like Enterprise. Like, it's really cool that they
actually
make this really accessible movie that's for Star Trek fans and not Star Trek fans, which was what Abrams was trying to do. They succeed at it better.
Right.
They give their audience credit. They are not scared of the fact that if you came into this because you thought it looked funny, you're not going to know what you're looking at for the first 20 minutes. They do a good enough job explaining it.
Right.
Getting you into this. They're not like, oh no, they're on a Klingon ship. No one will understand what we're looking at.
Right.
I feel like in lesser hands, they would have had that.
They would have spoon-fed everything.
Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice.
It would have been just Kirk and Spock in a shuttlecraft.
Right.
Well, it's nice, like you said, it's nice when a movie understands that they're going for a particular audience that already knows what's being talked about.
But more to the point that they're not scared of losing the audience that doesn't. Because again, this is not just for Star Trek fans. This is for everybody.
Right.
Exactly.
And not in that, like, we throw everything for someone in a blender and it comes out looking like gobbledygook.
Right.
This movie has a very particular tone, and it knows just what it is, but it also walks that line and does that juggling act really impressively.
It does by the time Discovery happens, because they make San Francisco look like Coruscant from Star Wars.
Nice.
Which makes no sense, because then you see it in TNG and it's like, oh, there's a few new buildings, but it looks basically
that's it.
the
Right,
same.
exactly.
Which I don't like, because I don't think
ultra-futuristic.
people would, I don't think humans would build it up like that. I think they would be more environmentally conscious and stuff.
Well, especially at that point in our history.
And I feel like also...
But then Discovery doesn't feel like the utopia it's supposed to be anyway.
No.
But I don't want to just
spend
all time railing on Discovery.
We won't talk about that.
Yep. His first contact hasn't happened. He just rips a piece off his cloak and it...
City on the Edge of Forever.
It's interesting, yes, of course. This time he doesn't have to ransack somebody's laundry.
Right.
But it's interesting the way the history, the prehistory before TOS is kind of hobbled together through the shows and the movies, right? Knowing what we know now, it's really easy and is a testament to, by and large, how well the continuity was held together. Obviously, there are gaffes, there are mistakes. There also, before Discovery, were 705 episodes of Star Trek.
Right.
And umpteen movies. 10 movies before you get to Abrams' verse. And so we make mistakes, but it's pretty impressive how much of stuff more or less works out and it feels like a real living and breathing universe. To Brandon's point a minute ago, it's interesting that looking back on this now, that they don't know when First Contact happens. Right. You know what I mean? That's not in the canon yet. Right. We don't really know. We don't really have a timeline for that yet.
Right.
Certainly.
We can ballpark it. We know it's sometime after 1996. We know that. I don't even know if we have World War III at this point. I'm not sure if it's ever brought up before First Contact.
It was mentioned in the original series in that episode with that rock dude, because Colonel Green was in the one with Surak and all.
Yeah, Savage Curtain.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be from World War III.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry, what were you saying?
And also, wait. You said before First Contact.
Yeah, before First Contact.
Encounter Farpoint, of course.
Okay.
This is such a crazy reveal, I must say. When it's straight out of like old sci-fi, where the door opens and the alien emerges, but they don't know what's coming out. At this point, it's just really interesting. But
and it looks great. Yeah,
it does look great. I was going to ask.
It's real Close Encounters or ET or something.
I never understood when I was a kid. I never understood why nobody in San Francisco would have a problem with Spock walking around in his bathrobe, but now I'm like, nobody would have a problem in San Francisco with Spock walking.
Yeah, of course not.
But let me disagree with that. He does get looks.
He does get looks, but I mean, it's still.
And I think the idea is supposed to be
much in the same way that other people would get looks.
Right. Anybody else would get.
But here's the thing. I don't know about your initial premise because you're suggesting that like the fashion is already so weird.
Yeah.
But I think part of the reason people don't look at Spock like he's too weird is because they also think that what Kirk is wearing is weird.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're all wearing weird stuff.
Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. I really like a lot of the music from this period.
This is very Harold Faltermeyer, Beverly Hills Cop.
It is. Yeah. No, it's great.
Stuff.
Yeah, it's really fun. I have nostalgia for this stuff. I think it's really fun.
What I was going to ask was, so when they travel back in time, they don't have a clear idea of what time they're going to until they get there, right? So, like, they didn't just pick the year and go there.
They didn't pick a specific year. They
true.
They had to go back to a time where there were these whales.
Right.
And stuff.
So can they pick the specific year? So how do they get back to right where they need to be? And if they went there, how come they didn't just go a little bit earlier, head the thing off at the past, save Spock, and save his son? I mean, obviously for the sake of story.
Have a movie.
But do you think they're thinking about Kirk?
That's maybe
as
hedging your bets too much.
Yeah.
I could have seen having the conversation about it though.
Sure.
I could have seen the philosophical question of well, if we're gonna do this and we're not concerned about ruining history to save ourselves, why not also fix this thing? Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
I have to say he's
going
to say
50,000 other things they might have thought.
Did he
to
say it already? Did he say 18th century American?
He did.
Those look like readers from Walmart. Look at those things.
Yeah,
I don't understand
Adam loves making that point.
So maybe trying to pull one over on him.
I guess.
But Brandon, later on, there's of course a plot point about Spock having to make a guess about how to get back.
That's true.
When they get there.
Right.
But anyway,
calculation.
When
they're relying on his calculation later.
This is really easy. When they see the whales on the side of the bus.
Right.
That's a little easy.
Right.
So I want to talk about the George and Gracie thing in a minute, but I got to backtrack a little bit because we talked over it. When we were talking about how cool the shot is when they land, and everybody remember where we parked. In the initial draft, they were supposed to land in the middle of the Super Bowl, and everybody thought it was part of the halftime show.
That's hilarious. Exact change.
And I think that would have worked just as well.
Yeah.
I think they kind of could have gotten away with that.
Certainly.
Except that people might recognize them from on TV.
Yeah.
That would have been the only problem with that.
Yeah.
Unless they landed, the ship was just there. Oh no! I think the idea was supposed to be then they just cloak, and so everybody thinks it's part of the halftime show, and nobody actually sees them in uniform.
This is
I think
like
that was
the
idea.
exact same joke, basically. That's what they just did with George and Gracie, almost.
Yeah, it is. Oh no, you're right. It is. We're like, oh wait a minute, we should look at the. Oh man, that's a little lazy.
Wait, so does
Nicholas Meyer, I'm sorry, buddy, a little lazy.
So wait, so I've heard that these are real people. Is this true? Oh
they are.
My god,
yeah,
that's
even
amazing.
this cop I think was.
Oh my god.
I think. I'm not sure about that one for sure. But yeah, no, they had hidden cameras.
That's awesome.
And they walked around and they asked and they had I don't know, but I've always wondered about that. But yeah, this girl definitely has no idea what's going on. I think the cop might, but all these other people don't.
Right.
But I'm not sure. He might have been a plant. I actually don't know that. That's the best.
This guy.
But yeah, she does not know she's in a movie right now.
There it is. Punk on bus.
It's really cool they got away with
Punk on bus.
Yep.
Who is the guy who played this punk anyway?
Oh, look at that guy's reading Omni magazine. That's awesome.
He is. He's somebody on the crew. I can't remember now.
That's what I
used to know
thought.
that.
When they were filming this scene, there's a woman with a bunch of Star Trek bumper stickers on her car, driving by, and they saw her and they just looked out the window and they started waving at her, and they almost caused her to have an accident.
That's awesome. That's really funny.
I like the classic.
Oh my god, this
here.
is the best. I didn't get this joke as a kid, but this is one of my favorite jokes. When he talks about the literature of the period, and he says Jacqueline, Suzanne, and Harold Robin.
Yeah,
I know, and it's terrible books.
It's really funny. And he's just familiar with all that because he has a download dump.
Right.
Then how come he doesn't know row your boat?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Jacqueline Suzanne wrote Bonfire, The Vanities, and Harold Robbins wrote The Carpetbaggers, both trashy airport novels from the 60s.
So how does Kirk know so much about late 20th century Earth?
Well, we know he collects stuff because of Wrath of Khan. And remember, this is, we got the same guy writing both movies.
Right.
I mean, it's really nice that Nicholas Meyer wrote the Even movies,
right.
and that they and that he got to keep referencing things that he set up in the first place.
Right.
But that's kind of, Brandon, I think just the easy thing you do with a character in the future, so that you can make 20th century references if you want to.
Certainly.
So yeah, but he has a collection of stuff from, I guess, 19th to 20th century.
This was filmed at the
Obviously,
Monterey Bay
with
Aquarium.
Mm. Oh yeah, he has an affinity for the time.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Can you speak up? How come somebody didn't give this woman a microphone?
I know she needs one of those things. Yeah. Or no, she has a bullhorn.
When I was in Germany, one of the castles we went to had a really cool setup because it was such a big crowd that was on the tour, right?
Mm-hmm.
They give you all like radios.
Oh, nice.
And then you turn it to a frequency, and then the person, the tour guide speaks through a speaker, and everybody can hear it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Actually, I think at least 2 of the castles we went to were like that. We saw a lot of castles when I was in Germany.
So this is the place they're at is the Oceanic Institute.
Yep.
Yes, and this is Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Okay. Oh boy.
And again, they went to like an actual place.
Yeah.
Yeah, on location.
So it was, and I imagine still is. I don't know, but it was against the law to get within like 1,000 feet of a humpback whale, because they were so endangered, and they didn't want anything to happen to them. They didn't want people to accidentally damage them.
Right.
Sure.
So they had to show this to somebody in the government. I forget who, in order to screen it and make sure that they didn't break that law, right?
Sure.
Right.
And the special effects
I heard about
were so good on the made up whales, because sometimes when you see the whales, they actually are just shot from 1,000 feet away.
Right.
They got some photography that way, and you legally could do that. They just got long lenses, and they zoomed in, and you could see them. Yes, and the guy was like, I know where you shot this, and they shut down the reel. They shut down the screening, and Bennett or someone stands up and says, well, if you think that that's this place that you think we shot that at, you obviously don't know your stuff well enough, and we'll have to show this to somebody else.
Nice.
Because the special effects were so good, he thought it was a real whale shot where they actually have those,
That's interesting.
instead of a tank in San Francisco.
Can I also just say, with that last shot that we were looking at, imagine this on the big screen. They're straight up flaying whales on screen in that aquarium, and that would be giant on the screen. That's some kind of graphic stuff.
I think he was trying to show, Nimoy wanted to really show what exactly was happening at the time.
Absolutely.
I'm glad he did that.
Right.
The problem, of course, Brandon, is that when it's animals, it tends to not be as shocking to people.
Right.
I know.
So even in a movie that's okay for kids, nobody's going to look at that and be like, oh my god, that's too graphic to put on screen.
Right.
True enough.
Because it's just not far away enough for people from, like, making hamburgers or whatever.
Right.
Right.
Even if you do look at that and go, that's awful, and that shouldn't be being done. I think I meant to say this earlier, I think one of the great, I I think one of the best things about this movie is one of the great achievements I meant to say is that it manages to be this environmental story that doesn't come off to me as too heavy-handed.
No, it's not. This is so great.
And when you just pitch this premise, it sounds as goofy as pitching the premise for Star Trek V. It's that you can make anything work, you just have to make it work thing.
Right.
We're going to go find God, sounds dumb, and then I saw the movie, and it was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk's going to go find humpback whales and repopulate the species, sounds dumb. I saw the movie, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Look at this looks so great.
This was one of the few Star Trek movies that wasn't, I say few, I don't know how many were. This was a Star Trek movie that was not nominated for
Academy Award for
special effects Oscars. And it's just because I think it was hard to tell that there even were special effects in a lot of places where the most impressive special effects
blow the audio, the big boom.
Because that's not real, and it looks great.
It's outstanding. And the people from Industrial Light and Magic that did this, they had to learn how to, they had to study the whales to make all this.
That's not a normal thing to make.
I know, it's not. It's not like a spaceship.
No,
they can just do anything. They had to actually
really
study the animal.
So is that one of the models you were talking about?
Yeah.
The humpback whale model?
Yeah.
Must have been.
Because they couldn't actually use a real one. So I
the only
always
time
thought
that it's real whales is when they're like the ocean and they're showing them like that.
Adam and Brandon, both of you guys, how do you feel about the fact that we never really make Kirk and what's her face, Catherine Hicks? I can't think of her name. Jillian.
Yeah.
How come? Do you guys mind the fact that we don't really make that a romance? Or is it better because it isn't?
I think it's better that it isn't really a romance. I'm glad that it was.
I think he's got, in this case, he's got some sort of professional courtesy there, but also
just doesn't have time.
No, I think that he tried. He maybe wanted it, but then at the end, she didn't.
It's true.
She was just like.
I mean, you're right. You can easily use that as an excuse, Brandon, but I don't think they're thinking about that.
I don't think so either. You're right about that.
I think it was fun because it was kind of a good spin on every TOS episode where he always got
the woman, sure.
Yeah, but I'm a little surprised that there's not like a scene where he kind of tries to seduce her and it doesn't work or something like that. We never really broach it. I mean,
think it's because it was the 80s and that might not have been as acceptable by this point, maybe? I don't know.
It would have been acceptable enough for him to hit on her.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
No, the more 80s progressive thing to do, if that's your argument, Adam, would be for him to do his normal Kirk thing and for him to say hell no.
Right.
Right?
Right. That's true.
And then the audience applauds because the woman's not letting herself be taken advantage of, right? Like that's what you do.
That's true.
I'm just a little surprised that there's never like he does turn the charm on.
Right. Yes,
like you're saying, and they do have a bit of a chemistry. What I like the fact that it doesn't go there because they wouldn't have time.
Right, it wouldn't
be
distracted from the main story.
Yeah, and I like that Kirk isn't.
It's not too heavy-handed.
He's got a ticking time bomb he doesn't fully know about yet, but he's got to get those whales at a certain time.
Right.
And then the dilithium crystals stop working right, and so we have
Chekhov's head.
We come up with a lot of obstacles to make it difficult for them to leave when they need to.
Right.
Yeah. So it would throw Kirk under the bus too much if he tried to take the time to get the girl. But when she goes back with him to the future, it's a little surprising that we don't follow that up and he doesn't try to have a relationship with her.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it would have been interesting.
She also looks surprisingly a little bit like Carol Marquez.
Yeah.
And it's
so it would make sense if he's over that tight.
It's hard for me not to buy that Kirk is really attracted to that woman.
Right, exactly.
And also, we know that part of the reason they went with a female character there is because Kirk hasn't gotten to hang out with women at all in these movies.
Right.
And that's a big TOS thing. That the guest star often was a girl that he was palling around with, and was sleeping with or whatever. And I don't think the idea was ever to have them sleep together.
Right.
But she is female because of that.
Right.
Wait, did he just say they're going to collect the photons?
Yes. They have to get the photons.
They have to get the photons are light. I think he's supposed to say something else there.
Yeah.
They gotta get the photons,
Like
Brandon.
protons or something.
No, that's never made sense to me either.
Yeah, the photons. He totally screwed it up. I want to know what the real script says.
Cool that in this they were actually able to film on a real working aircraft carrier to
me
do
too.
all that stuff.
How did she find them?
I think that they kind of stick out.
Well, that's
wearing
true.
those clothes.
That's true.
And also they're walking, so they don't really have. They're not going very fast.
They weren't that far away.
Yeah, they weren't that far away.
So
LDS.
yeah, a little too much LDS.
There was a meme on the Star Trek Facebook page of this picture right here, and it said, "Caption this," and it said, "We've come back in time to warn you about Will Decker."
There aren't a whole lot of gags in this that don't play.
Oh, true enough.
I think most of it
works.
works.
Solid movie.
And I think if they had gone with the initial draft, it would have been too slapsticky and would have been kind of Superman 3 all over again.
Oh god.
Originally, do you want to talk about it, Adam?
I don't want to think about it. I didn't even know about the original draft of how it was going to be. So you're going to enlighten me.
Oh no, you
here.
do. Eddie Murphy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Eddie
no, you know about
Murphy.
this. Originally, Eddie Murphy was supposed to be in this
Pryor all
movie.
over
It would have been
again.
Superman 3 all over again.
Richard Pryor.
It absolutely would have been.
Oh,
Yep.
and I love Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy.
Me too.
But that would have been.
Yeah. So, Eddie Murphy was supposed to play a character that eventually became her character.
Oh, really?
Basically, she was like an amalgamation of 2 or 3 characters that they mixed.
Wow.
That in one draft there were all these characters and they kind of mixed them all together.
Right.
There was a scientist person that is more what she is, and then there was a originally thought of as a crackpot scientist guy who was Eddie Murphy, who was obsessed with extraterrestrials, and is proven right by Kirk showing up.
Okay.
And there was going to be kind of this whole subplot about whether or not aliens exist, and
It sounds overly complicated.
him figuring that out. And and too many of the scenes I read about were just like him kind of being pratfallish, and it would have been a different kind of comedy.
Oh, absolutely. And it would not have played, I'm certain.
It probably wouldn't have worked. Yep.
Right.
One of the things that I dig about this movie is we get some Star Trek quality shots of the 80s, which always kind of, well, the 80s are near and dear to my heart anyway, but it's just kind of fun for me.
Yeah, they did a good job with the.
That's a great line.
The hell they did. Did he say that part? That was my favorite.
I also
That's my
don't
favorite
know,
Spock profanity. The hell they did.
No, it's great. I also don't know if this movie would have played as well for audiences or been as much of a surprise anyway.
Right.
If we had already had a movie that was shot on location at all, that used long lens cameras,
Right.
that had the kind of cinematography we were able to do on this movie. I mean, this really showcased what Nimoy was capable of as a director.
Right.
And
See, there's his charm.
it might have felt like they were trying to, cut corners and save money.
Right.
If we had
Right.
already had a movie that was made like this, but was more of a Star Trek movie.
Right.
I really don't think you can underestimate how important it is that the movie before this was all on soundstage.
Right. But the previous 3 movies before.
Plexicorp. I never knew the name of the company.
Oh yeah, I've asked that in trivia.
Yes, it's like the most generic name.
Yeah.
Of course. That's awesome.
But I've asked that in trivia
I
contest
love
before.
plexiglass.
I love this guy. And he said, I want to cosplay as him. I want the I quit smoking button.
one of my so some of the best lines in the movie are in the scene when he says I've came millions of miles, thousands of miles. It's the
Don't
best.
bury yourself in the park.
Yeah, it's great. But one of my favorite things maybe my favorite thing to nitpick in this movie is in this scene when Scotty makes an Apple IIe move way faster than one of those could possibly go.
Okay.
It does not matter what era you're from or what you know about computers. You're not going to be able to make the processing power of that computer move any faster.
Right.
To be
Brandon.
fair, it was a Mac Plus, but still.
Yeah,
Okay, he just nice and
he
IIe.
just starts
No,
typing away
it's
on
a-
it like it's the Cray supercomputer.
Oh, I'm sorry,
But
Adam.
it's going like this.
Yeah, he's moving so fast. He's like, oh, how quaint. Yeah, if I tried to get a computer to move that fast, we'd be
and also
things
he
left
should
and
be,
right.
and like this again. I realize I'm nitpicking, but it's fun to complain about. He should be confused by the interface.
Right.
He doesn't even know that you don't talk in the mouse. How would he? I guess it happens a little bit later. He doesn't even know you don't talk into the mouse.
He knows all the command keys.
How would he be
knows how to
used
do
to
keyboard
Windows?
shortcuts. Yeah. He knows all
I realize it's Mac, but like the idea of an interface where you open up Windows
GUI,
to retrieve
GUI,
files.
yeah.
He wouldn't know about that.
Right, I mean,
And if he does know about that, he'd know what a mouse was.
Right.
well, he does know what a mouse is, but he's not thinking
No,
of a
he
mouse
doesn't.
straight up.
He doesn't.
No,
use
he
the
doesn't.
mouse.
He picks it up and tries to talk in
And
it.
no, and he goes, a mouse, how quaint.
No, keyboard,
He
how
goes the
quaint.
keyboard, how quaint.
Yeah, he doesn't know what a mouse is.
And then he starts
Oh.
using all the keyboard shortcuts, like the
Oh,
command
okay.
keys on the Mac. He
How
starts
would he
going
know
like,
that?
Yeah, how would he know what those are?
Yeah. No, he has no idea what a
Now
mouse
he-
is.
Oh, I guess not. I always just assumed he was talking about the mouse.
Janeway and Chakotay do the same thing in
Future's End.
Future's End.
Yeah.
60 feet by 10 feet. 6 inches. I know that. I did the math.
No, you didn't. You watched this movie. Also, it wouldn't matter if you did the math. You don't know anything about his product. So how can you do the math?
It's plexiglass.
Impressively, TNG brings up transparent aluminum.
I know.
Someplace.
This is good. Yeah.
It's really cool. We remember that.
I quit smoking.
This is one of those things also that I like to nitpick, where this would probably create enough of a butterfly effect that something very significant.
Right. Yeah.
That the future would be very different.
Right.
The way they justify that with, well, how do we know he didn't invent the thing?
Right.
Yeah, okay, but when you get back to the future and your parents don't exist,
Right.
then yeah.
There it is.
So he punched in one button and it pulled up a molecule. That's,
Yeah.
He
That's-
opened,
that's
maybe,
not bu-
maybe
how
he
does he
opened-
even know what's there?
Maybe he
Like,
opened an existing file already.
Yeah, but he
well,
didn't
how would he know
was there.
it was
That's
existing?
true.
No, it looks like he's creating
Molecular design.
graphics.
I always thought that went a
Somehow.
lot faster.
It's still pretty darn fast.
It
pretty
is
darn
pretty darn
fast.
fast, but I thought it was a lot faster.
No.
Yes. I'm curious.
Are you doing more math?
No, I want to see
Adam?
what the megahertz of the Mac Plus was.
Dude, it doesn't matter.
I know.
because he still
I
couldn't
believe you.
do
I
what
agree
he's
with you
doing.
100%.
He presses a button and he creates a graphic.
Right.
Not now, Madeline.
But I want to see how slow it was. Not now. Yes. Maybe I could get Stephanie to cosplay as Madeline.
Hey, that's a good
Press
idea.
operator.
And then you would cosplay as that
And I
guy,
would cosplay as that guy.
and then I would get Scotty's jacket.
Yes.
But
Brandon can be McCoy.
I'm pretty sure that they've got something that compares to transparent aluminum nowadays in real life. It's pretty close.
We're altering the future. It's a big leap, Scotty.
no, it really is. That's
It's a
not.
big leap, Scotty.
Yeah, that's not how
You should know.
quantum theory works, man.
I'm not. Well, we're not going to tell the what are they called? The temporal agents.
Yes. Yeah.
Time shift.
No. The people in Deep Space Nine. The temporal.
Oh, yeah.
There's a name for that agency. I
Yes.
forget what it is. Yeah.
Well, aren't they the same ones that show up in Voyager?
No.
No,
They're different.
totally different thing.
Oh.
That's like Starfleet of the 29th century.
Yes,
Oh,
no, that's
that's-
Time Fleet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Time Fleet.
yeah.
No, he's talking about something different.
Yeah.
He's talking about Trials and Tribulations.
They're like the auditors. They're like the.
Yes. No, that's exactly right. Yeah. Department of Temporal Affairs.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Am I right about
love
that?
them.
Yeah.
Yes. You need to get that
She'd be
power
careful,
steering
she could
wheel.
run into that thing.
Yeah. Crunch. She drove it on the lawn. Hey, that's a bike path she was driving on. I don't think that was a road.
I think this might be, certainly up to this point, the only instance of pizza we ever had. Maybe Voyager has a couple instances of
Tom
pizza.
Paris,
I
maybe?
think Tom Paris probably eats pizza. I think he probably
Oh,
at least
sure.
he at least talks about pizza, yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably had Harry Kim eat it at some point.
And Balana. Mac Plus had an 8 megahertz CPU.
See, here's the charm.
With 1 meg of RAM.
So you said her role was supposed to be Eddie Murphy, kind of in the beginning.
Yeah.
How would they have gone with this storyline with an Eddie Murphy type character?
It was going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Kind of like the main beats were still there. Like, he was just kind of a bumbling buffoon character.
Okay.
Who like already believed in aliens, so it wasn't a leap to get him to help them.
Right.
Okay.
And like the whole thing with her jumping onto Kirk when he beams, they were gonna do that with Eddie Murphy. He like grabs his ankle.
Surprise!
Yeah.
I would think that if the beam has already started and you get caught in
No, it makes no sense.
Yeah, you couldn't,
And we're
because
very
the computer would have already
inconsistent about it.
disassembled
This
you.
restaurant looks so 80s.
Well, and also, Brandon, you have to lock onto something.
Yeah.
So how does it make any sense? If you have to lock onto a thing, it doesn't really make any sense that it would beam up things that are... I mean...
I got more that they're
hold
locking
on.
onto the location.
It doesn't... No, that doesn't seem to be the case. Because I mean, we lock onto, like, to like, individuals. Why else would you have to say, like, 3 to beam up, 5 to beam up? But when... what does that have to do with the location? No, the deal is... It makes sense that it would beam anything in the area that you told it to beam when you activate the matter stream, even if you didn't know it was going to be there.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you beam part of a thing?
You would, because
that's
the
what would
matter stream
happen,
is
right?
localized.
You'd lose an arm, you'd lose a
You'd
leg.
be splinched.
Right.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Now, if the idea is that it gets enough around a person,
Yeah.
then I guess it sort of makes sense, but we're inconsistent about it. Sometimes it works and
Right.
sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
If we want to be gruesome about it, we will beam up something and
Be
lop off part of
gruesome.
it.
I'm pretty sure they've done that. Did they do that on Discovery?
Yes. I think so.
That seems like something they would do.
It does, yeah. It does. That show doesn't stick with me, Adam, so I don't know. I've watched those one time exactly, and yeah.
Remember, we've even had creatures living in the matter stream, which doesn't make sense.
That was a fun episode.
Yeah.
It wasn't creatures, it was people. But
it was
yeah.
people. Scotty stayed in the matter stream.
Yeah, that's true. He put himself in the buffer.
He was in the buffer, but they didn't live in the matter stream. The things
That was the
attacked
matter
Barclay.
stream. I mean,
they
it's
weren't
like
things, they
little
were people.
loop.
He was seeing things. It turned out they were people.
Yeah,
you're
that's
forgetting
right.
the end of that episode.
Yeah. It always does.
And so is Spock.
But yeah, I've always appreciated how reasonable she ultimately is in
Yes. She's
taking him kind of
she's like
half
taking him
seriously, like, because she doesn't fully buy it, but there's also no other explanation.
Right.
And I just feel like everybody in this movie are written like real people.
Right.
Like if you really sit down and get to the brass tacks of how the character work is done in this movie,
Right.
you can tell it's the same guy that put together Wrath of Khan, or at
Exactly.
least helped to put together Wrath of Khan.
Right.
Because obviously he didn't write that movie by himself, but
Right.
but it feels like his work, but it's a completely different kind of story.
Right.
And he said one of the reasons that Nicholas Meyer, that one of the reasons he was excited to work on this movie was because he didn't get to write a lot of comedy.
Oh yeah.
But he did try to get them to set it in a different city, because he had already done this with Time After Time.
Right.
And he was like, can we do it in London? And they were like, no, it's not going to be in London. And he was like, oh. They're never going to eat that pizza.
Yeah.
They're going to take it with them, and they're
It's
never
just
going to have a
gonna be
slice.
cold.
They're never going to eat it.
It's gonna be cold.
That's true,
They can
yeah.
have it the next morning.
I feel like they could probably heat it
Cold
up
pizza.
pretty easily on the
Hi,
ship.
doggy.
Is that like a drug sniffing dog or a uranium sniffing
It's a
dog?
bomb dog. I don't know.
So
Yeah.
am I right in remembering this, Adam? Because this is not a thing I'm remembering right off.
Yeah.
Was the Enterprise vessel a happy accident?
No, this is the USS
Or did they do that on
Ranger.
purpose? And they did that on purpose.
And they intentionally
changed it to
called it
Enterprise,
the Enterprise.
Which I thought was a really great idea.
Yeah. USS Ranger actually is a smaller, was a smaller aircraft carrier than the Enterprise.
So they're still collecting photons?
Yep, they're collecting photons.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, obviously...
He's gonna say it again, Brandy. He's gonna say, beam in, collect the photons and beam out. What more could it be?
Certainly, it's nice with a movie that doesn't actually have the Enterprise in it, that we do that callback, and that we have something that kind of connects this era to our era, but it also gives you a sense of where we were and how far we've come, and what this Enterprise represents versus what ours does.
Right, exactly. There's a weapon of war.
I think that's very important.
Right.
I always thought it was a really cool and interesting coincidence, Adam, that George and Gracie is also the name of George Takei and Grace Lee Whitney, and they almost had a TV show.
Oh, that's true.
I always thought that was really interesting, right?
Did they almost have a TV show?
They did. There was a lot of talk about it.
So they actually did. That wasn't just George Takei wishful thinking.
No, I'm pretty sure that was one of 3 or 4 concepts they were kicking around at one time.
Oh, okay.
But even if it isn't, just the fact that just the fact that she was his first officer on the Excelsior, at conventions, that's how Grace Lee Whitney referred to them.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, she used to go on stage and call them George and Gracie.
That's funny.
Yeah. And that's obviously not on purpose, because it's a different reference.
Homeless, man.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, like she's wonderfully sympathetic, because
she's on the grass again.
She's in an impossible situation where it's like he knows all this stuff he can't know.
Yeah.
And
she has to wonder why.
There's no explanation for what he's doing or for his motivations, but his heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
And now she's just kind of witnessed something.
I don't think we will ever have the answer. I mean, I think every now and again people hear it, but I always wonder if the beaming sound is for our benefit or not.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well,
there are a lot of places where people, where either nobody seems to notice it, or we, sneak up on someone beaming.
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
True.
But you'd hear that from a mile away, especially the one in these movies, because it sounds like forks being scraped against each other.
Yeah. It might be what you experience in the matter
stream.
Being decombobulated and recombobulated. I'd like to point out that...
Except how much of that would you even hear if your ears are being disintegrated, right?
I don't know that for sure, but it may be the act of happening that causes the sensation.
But whatever, I mentioned it there because, we're hearing this really loud sound, but she's just looking behind her like, what just happened? Did she hear that? I don't think she did, but I don't know.
Can I also point out that the Klingon ship is parked in a large green space and nobody's gone into it far enough to run into this ship. Not only that, it's got a large footprint sunken down with a compacted trash can underneath the footing that nobody's gone for to pick up yet.
It seems like it's conveniently a pretty deserted part of the park that people just don't go to that much.
That's what it's probably like the part of the park where they...
It's just a big patch of grass.
Where
it's
people dump off bodies and stuff.
Well, that took a dark turn, Adam. That's not what I kind of figured it was just a big patch of grass people weren't, walking their dogs on or whatever. But sure, body dumping site, yeah. I've always thought this section went on a little long.
Yeah.
Building tension.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think it really works.
Yeah, it's not.
Again, nice we sort of give everybody something to do. Obviously, we give Uhura less to do than anybody because she's kind of just there to be with Chekhov.
Right.
But even Scotty, how easy would it have been to just leave him on the ship?
Right.
Does it make sense?
But all Sulu gets to do is fly a helicopter.
I know.
Does it make sense that you have to beam them one at a time because it's the same amount of energy to do it twice? It would be to do both at once, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know. Now would be a good
Maybe
time.
it has to, like, recharge itself or
Okay,
something.
Chekhov went to the leather store for this outfit. Jesus.
Yeah.
What the hell is that thing?
Now would be a good time. So yeah, like, all of this is okay, but before that, when we're, you know, hearing from the guy on the bridge and all that, I think a lot of that could be cut pretty easily.
Freeze! Uh-oh. The Marines are there.
Oh boy.
You would think that our guys would... I mean, maybe they just can't come up with enough money, but you'd think they'd try harder to, like, get period clothes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if they were on the Enterprise, they would just tell the computer what they wanted to wear.
That's true. But maybe at this point, in the 80s, they're like, the 80s fashion was so weird, we just pretend like we're really fashion-forward people just walking around the street.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, no, but you'd think they'd be worried about contaminating the timeline.
That's
That you
true,
wouldn't want anybody to see
Yes.
what will centuries from now be uniforms.
That's true, too.
You see what I'm saying?
And then get inspired.
Yeah, it's not just about being
Right.
conspicuous. It's actually still very much
Right.
about that. You don't want to be too conspicuous because you don't want people to see what the future looks like.
Right.
Not just that you're afraid that they'll be onto you.
That's true. Yeah, that line would not fly today.
Yeah, but in a period piece, I'd be impressed if somebody wrote it.
Right. Very sorry, but... I like the sound that this thing makes. It sounds like the monkey from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That's hilarious.
So
Also,
he
the
just
Klingons
handed off technology.
disruptor.
to
The
this guy.
Klingon
Yeah, that wasn't
phasers look
smart.
like it looks like a dust buster.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a ship. It looks like a model
Yeah, a toy.
of a
yeah, like a model ship. Yeah. You're going the wrong
like
way. Look at the
of
arrow.
a freighter or something. Yeah, follow the arrow.
Follow the arrow.
He looks like me trying to play video games.
So what's with this soundtrack?
Chekhov can't play Arkham
This is
Asylum.
his Russian Chekhov theme. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't like about the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And then the hospital theme too, where it's really whimsical. It's overly it's funny now. Again, TOS did that, so
Right.
I don't mind it so much.
I don't mind it that much.
And I kind of like the grand orchestration of that
Right.
kind of music. I
Right.
think that's fun. It's a soundtrack I think overall works really well for this movie. It's not one of my favorites,
Right.
but it's a hard thing to score.
Right.
Like, I think it sounds like what it should sound like.
Right.
And it's also a pretty minimalist score.
Right.
Because, I mean, so much of this is dialogue joke driven.
Right.
That if you have too much music, it sounds like a laugh track.
Right.
You know, you have to be careful about that.
Exactly.
It's a little whimsical. I do like the main theme for this movie quite a bit.
Right.
And it's like, it being a Star Trek movie that is a comedy and about going back to what was then present day, what exactly do you do with that fanfare? I mean,
Right.
like, that had to have been a really tough thing
You know, it's the vision.
So let me ask this then.
to come up with, because, real quick, because it's not a bleak, like, bad guys are gonna get us plot,
Right.
and it's not a, like, grand scale, like
What are we
epic
looking at
odyssey
saying? Right.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. What do you do with that?
Right. Exactly.
So I gotta ask, because I was
That's
thinking
great.
about it. Kirk mentions that he could go out to the ocean to get these whales, but he'd rather have hers. They're being released tomorrow. Can't he just get hers from the ocean
That's-
after they're released?
Yeah, but they'd be hard to find. That's
But
the whole point.
all they gotta do is stick a tracker on them, and
They did, but he didn't know what the tracker the tracker was. I mean, that they stuck a tracker on.
I know he doesn't have the frequency yet.
That guy's a real typical womanizer,
I know.
and kind of needed another scene or
Bill.
two, maybe.
Bill.
Freaking Bill!
Bill.
I hate Bill.
So she's
No,
grasping
it's
at
not Bill.
straws right
It's
now.
Bob.
Oh, that's
Come
right.
on, Bob.
Bob.
Come on.
Because she's grasping at straws, she has to think that maybe, if there's a way, maybe these guys just are.
Brandon, for all you know, the only thing she has in this world is that pickup truck. That's all we've ever
That's true.
seen.
That's all we've seen.
Yeah,
She
I
works
also-
for the.
I think it might have been nice, and I don't know where you would have put it, but like to go to her apartment, see where she lives, because she has not a prestigious job, but not like a easy job to get or anything. She
may live in a one-bedroom.
That's not what I mean. She's kind of a scientist. Why is she played, except for just, I mean, I know the real reason. The real reason is she needs to have nothing so she can leave and it won't affect the future. Why does she seem to have such a pathetic life outside of her job?
Because she's married to it.
Maybe she just...
They don't ever say that. Like, we don't talk about that.
I think it's just implied.
I mean, that's what it should be, maybe.
Maybe she's, like, dedicated herself to these whales so much.
Sure,
okay, here's the first.
Yeah, but that's not really in the movie. Well, that's kind of in the movie. I don't know.
She says, I got to have those whales.
Yeah.
That's a cool shot.
But then also, I don't know.
There you go, Brandon. This is what you wanted.
There's the flag track.
I also just don't know anything about her background. I don't know what led her to that job. I don't know why she's so dedicated to it. Like,
that should have been a much more...
There are other people who work at that institute that are far less dedicated to the whales than she is.
Right.
Like, what makes her different from them?
Right.
Catherine Hicks never realized that she was going to have to learn any pantomime.
Oh.
Now she's a mime.
So he can hear her now, but he couldn't hear her before.
She's on the video.
Oh, it's on the screen. Okay, that's what it was.
Next time we'll pick a movie that Brandon's seen before.
I told you I haven't seen it in a long time.
I know. I'm just busting your chops.
That was cool.
The transporter pad is the kind of thing that when I was a kid, I always wanted to put in my house, and then grew up and realized it was impractical. Like, it doesn't do anything.
No.
What would you do with it? It would just be there.
It would just be there.
There's this guy in Britain, I think, who has this amazing apartment, like flat that he built a bunch of like Voyager era Starfleet stuff in, and it looks like...
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. Everything in his apartment looks like he's on a shuttlecraft or a starship. The problem is, I don't know where he puts any of his stuff.
Right.
It's all completely impractical.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he didn't build regular stuff into it. He's so meticulous. I'm like, where's your TV? Where's your kitchen? Like, I'm sure that stuff's there somewhere, and he just doesn't show it when
he
he's...
made the kitchen Neelix's kitchen.
Yeah. He's got 10 forward or whatever.
Yeah.
So was that the first time she saw Spock without his headband then, I guess?
Yeah.
So,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we kind of mirror that in First Contact, the first time Lily sees Worf.
Worf, right.
Well, of course she must help Chekhov.
She's one of the big bad guys on Luke Cage now.
Oh yeah, Alfred Woodard.
She's
Alfred Woodard is great.
She's great.
So,
and she's horrifying on that show. I don't know if you watched that, Adam, but she's amazing.
I haven't watched the second season.
Oh, okay. No, you showed her first season, though.
Yeah, she wasn't. Yeah, I saw that.
She's great.
Yeah.
Where'd they get the scrubs?
They stole them?
Yeah, they look good.
Now they're in St. Elsewhere.
Dr. Silver, Dr. Sandy Silver. This is such a great line.
Look at the candy striper. This is really a long time ago. My God.
Look at his old country doctor bag.
Like,
yeah, where'd he get that doctor bag?
That's great.
Some of this would feel like the Dark Ages now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean that you can just give someone
How
pills
do you just
for
walk up on a
dialysis,
chart that's got his name on it?
You just flip through them.
Kirk learned to read chicken scratch.
Get away. He just pushed that guy, and the guy's like, well, whatever.
I know, I'm an extra in a movie.
Yeah, how does Kirk read the doctor's handwriting? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Yeah. It ruins the whole movie. It completely kills it.
These guys aren't doctors. Image therapy.
The guy on the right.
Image therapy.
The guy on the right looks a little bit like Max Grodachik.
He does. Oh, Murky. Oh, those are his friends from T.J. Hooker.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Oh,
no,
okay.
not really.
Okay. They just look a lot like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know all these things I don't know. So, Adam, do you think this stuff goes on a little long?
Maybe a little bit.
I mean, like we're kind of just wrapping up threads so we can go get the whales at this point, right?
Yeah. Dentistry.
This is maybe the most sitcom-y section.
Yeah, it's right here
Of the movie.
with the music.
Where that too, but just where you have mistaken identities and you've got to go. You gotta pretend to be people that you're not to go rescue your friend that people don't know who he is, and
There's a crazy gun.
and like it works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of straight up comedy.
Right.
They just kind of go as he says.
This is cool.
Oh, is he holding the phaser? Yeah. Weird looking.
And so there is something at stake here. Like Chekhov is dying.
I like the McCoy just
but
drops.
as soon as they get in this hospital, we're not worried about Chekhov anymore.
Right. This thing's cool.
Space age, science, technology. It's good. I like medicine in the future.
And we don't come much away from this by TNG. We have a lot of medical apparatuses that are also these kind of massive things that you put on somebody's head.
Put on somebody's head, it keeps them immobilized, or it repairs damage.
Sure
whatever it is it does.
In like Shades of Grey, I'm pretty sure Riker had the same kind of thing.
A really similar kind of thing.
It's a catch-all, really.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, don't they put on one on Worf to keep him immobilized after he breaks his back or something?
Yeah.
I'm no longer a man.
I mean, even if that was the surgery you were doing, it would take a lot longer than that.
Yeah. Here we go.
And this is comedic chase scene.
We're all laughing now, right?
In one door, out the other. They could have just started coming in and out of doors, and it wouldn't have mattered.
That's true. That would have been
Typical
really silly.
Scooby-Doo style.
Yeah.
They could run
That
down the
would
hall.
have been really funny.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody edit that together. That'd be hilarious.
You know, this could have taken a real unfortunate turn if they got arrested and then we had to watch that scene where they're trying to figure out how to escape from prison so they can go get the whales.
So that lady was a medical
really
miracle.
Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, she was a medical miracle.
And we never hear about it.
Yeah.
Alternate timeline.
Yeah.
They just knocked that guy
That's the problem, and I don't mean to harp too much on butterfly effect. I know I talk about this a lot with time travel stories, but the problem with doing a thing like this as a comedy is that you're kind of asking the audience to be okay with our characters not thinking about the future and about not messing up the timeline for the sake of comedy. So, you want to give it to it because of the tone and the kind of movie they're making. But what they're making is inside of a larger piece, a larger continuity, where these characters usually would be concerned about things like, temporal,
They're temporal, space-time continuum.
Yeah, temporal prime directive,
temporal
whatever.
prime directive, yeah.
But, so...
Surprise.
McCoy shouldn't give her that because it could affect the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she also looks like she's like 92 years old.
Yeah.
So she's probably not going to have much of an effect on the timeline.
Right.
Can I ask why they got beamed to in front of the ship rather than onto the ship?
What do you mean they got beamed into the front of the
They were beamed out of the elevator and they appeared on the lawn in front of the ship rather than being beamed right onto the ship. They walked onto the ship.
That's true. I don't know
I've
why.
never understood
that's a
that.
good point.
No, I've always wondered
They beamed them down.
It might have something to do with the fact that they wanted to leave her character out there,
outside.
but they could have just said their goodbyes on the
They
ship.
could have just
and beamed
opened
her
the door.
off. Yeah, I said like,
get out!
We're gonna
shut
beam
that
you.
down the ramp.
Yeah. Well, and they have power now, so they can just beam her back out.
Yeah.
But look, they're not even sure they can actually make it back because of how rickety this thing is getting here.
Yeah.
That would be another reason to take the woman that just came on the ship and beam her back out.
Exactly. It's too risky.
Yeah, no, I don't know why we didn't have that conversation. Like, I get that there's not a lot of time.
Right.
But, well, now, to be fair, they're not planning on taking her with them. They will have that conversation. She wants to be here because they're getting her whales.
Right.
Yes, of course.
And also keep in mind that Kirk told her everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So kind of has to take.
So she's already been
we've
contaminated.
already. Yeah, exactly.
Look at the opening
Temporal
of Back to the
contamination
Future
is
too.
what I was trying to think of earlier.
Yeah,
but yeah.
temporal contamination. Why did it have to be aluminum and transparent? Why did it have to be transparent?
Yes, yeah, I wonder that too.
Because it
why
could have
couldn't
just
they
been aluminum
regular
wall.
aluminum?
Right?
You didn't have to see the whale.
That's what I'm thinking. Like,
you could have just beamed it on.
Yeah.
Well, am I wrong about this? It's been a while since I've thought about this part of it. Forever, I thought that they actually made the transparent aluminum, but but the last time I went back and watched this, somehow I thought the idea was that, like, I saw it differently, and I thought the idea was that they gave him that formula, and then what he gave them was actually something different. Do they actually use transparent
No, they
aluminum?
use it because it's only 1 inch thick. That would have been 6 inches thick.
Yeah.
That would have been too heavy and too wide.
I don't know why I thought that last time.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is an argument me and Sarah had. I forget. She's had a lot of time to learn those controls.
Yeah.
Uhura
but
now knows enough. Also,
it doesn't make sense that they could have turned around transparent aluminum in 24 hours any way you
No,
slice.
Yeah,
no,
they
it
would have
doesn't.
to, like, the whole
It doesn't.
fabrication thing, yeah.
so
That's cool.
Uhura is that lacking in understanding of the Klingon language in Star Trek VI, but she's been working
Right,
with
right,
these.
yeah.
I mean, maybe she wouldn't be able to speak it, but she seems to know nothing about the
Right,
language.
you have to, like,
Yeah,
flip
no
through all
kidding.
the books to try to find the words.
Which is
I mean,
already
you might not have
stupid
the
because you use a
pronunciation
computer.
Right.
But we'll get there.
Boom. But the universal
That's Star Trek
translator would be
6.
recognized. Yes, I think this is actually just stock footage of whales.
It's not stock footage.
That's not
They
stock
went and
footage?
shot it.
They did?
They did go and shoot
Oh, it
that.
doesn't look very good.
No, I'm with you. I think it looks like stock footage too. I always thought that. They apparently went and shot that. Unless some of it is stuff they shot and some of it's actually stock footage, but that
Right.
wouldn't make any sense to me. Why would you shoot some of it?
Now, this is a whale. This is what they thought was
Yeah.
the real whales here.
Yeah, they thought that was
Yeah,
real.
Look at that.
okay.
And that guy's like, I know where you shot that. No, you don't, because we made it up. We shot that in a tank in California.
Nice.
I also always thought this was a little too ezy.
Yeah.
That there's already whalers going after them
Yeah,
after they've been
it was
released in the
they've
water
been
like 10 minutes ago.
We found him.
That's
There's
a little
waiting
that's a
for
little
this.
easy. And now, I mean, I know this comes later, but now it feels like an episode of Captain Planet.
We're the Planeteers. You can be
Be
one
one
too.
too. 'Cause saving
Looting
our
and
planet
polluting
is the thing to do.
Looting and polluting is not
Not
the way. So here we're at the planet has the same.
There was almost a gritty live-action Captain Planet in the early 90s.
That would have been great.
I hope LeVar Burton would have been in it. To
I
say
really
the
want
power
that. I
is
still
yours.
really want that to happen. Captain Planet's one of the few things we haven't tried to bring back yet.
Now would be a great
Well, think
environmental
from the
message
Soviet Union.
time.
I would just, yeah. I just don't know if in this climate we would have as much fun with it.
No.
No, it'd be too serious.
It'd be
wouldn't
too
it?
serious, yeah. Captain Planet's one of those things that I'm not a fan of, but want to think I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever tried to go back and watch that? It's not
Oh,
watchable.
it's
that
not
show.
good.
It's hard to look at. But that has
Boom.
Star Trek connections.
Yeah.
Burton and Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. The scale is wrong here when they show the boat. Watch when they show the boat.
It looks really good though.
It's way too the ship
Oh,
is too
the
big.
ship's too small.
No, it's too big.
Is it?
Yeah.
You mean
I don't
the
know.
boat's
Compared
too
to the
big?
bridge, the boat is too small. The Klingon ship is too big.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure, but look at the
How many
bridge
decks
on the
does that-
boat there.
Yeah.
And look at how big their bridge is, and that little.
Well, I don't know
thing
if
at
you're
the
right about
top.
that.
Because later we see him on the the thing
On
when
the
it's
edge
crashed
of
in the
this-
water.
yeah, they-
Well,
put it
that's
on the
okay.
edge,
Yeah, but I think
Okay.
maybe the scale of the edge is wrong. I'm not sure that's wrong.
Maybe so.
Yeah, they need to do a ship
That's-
lineup, ship versus other objects in movies. They need to
That's
post
true. The
about
ship,
that.
yeah, but then later we see it. Or we saw it earlier against the Enterprise, and it was pretty big
I mean,
then. Yeah.
wouldn't that usually be manned by 30 or 40 people?
They said 12 people.
Really?
Yeah.
The original crew
about
complement was
a dozen
12?
officers and men. That's what he said.
Yeah,
Oh.
Look at this. I got a problem here.
they beamed
They
the
don't
water
leave.
in.
Well, they beam the water in, but they don't leave any space for the whales to breathe.
Oh yeah.
No, they don't. They seem to. Oh my God, they think they're fish! I never noticed that before! Maybe the space is toward the top and you can't
There's
see
no
it, but
air.
they don't know that whales have to breathe! Wouldn't that be really embarrassing?
Oh no, they drowned.
No,
We gotta go
that
back.
that would have been the.
We gotta go back to the before the
and
first time.
And then Jillian gets all pissed off because he gets her
Killed
whales
by
killed.
whales.
Oh, that's the best. Could you? That would
Iowa
have been the
bastard,
weirdest
you killed my
turn.
whale.
Could you? Adam, could you even imagine if that's the turn this took at the end?
Hilarious.
And Kirk knows nothing
Okay.
about whales,
Well,
She's
and now
fine.
they're now they're dead.
She's smiling right now, and she just found out that Spock has to make a guess. You're guessing
Yeah.
on how to get back to the future. That's
And
not,
then she's like, I have nowhere to go. I'm just going to stay here with the ship that's probably going to completely get pulled apart in time travel.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold on to your.
It'll be
pants.
great. But yeah, we get a lot of really nice, dry, comedic value out of Spock being, as we were talking about earlier, in the mental state he's in right now. Like, a lot of the stuff that we do with Spock, you couldn't
D.H.
do if he
Lawrence.
hadn't just come back from the dead.
This is a little flirty here, but this is D.H. Lawrence quotes.
No, that's true. Yeah, and see, sometimes I just don't know if he's flirting or just being friendly.
Just being Kirk.
I mean, yeah, like he talks to men and women differently, as people tend to. But I don't know if he's flirting sometimes.
Right.
The beasties.
Yeah, except you forgot to leave air.
Oh my
Scotty.
God, they should be
There
dead.
should be.
Also, when they say. When Kirk earlier tells her that he's bringing them to repopulate the species, that's neither accurate nor possible.
No. This is two whales. There's not enough
He
genetic
brings
material.
them back.
Well, no, but she's very pregnant. She's got a lot of.
It would still be incest. They would have
Yeah,
not have
no,
enough genes.
You
to
wouldn't
keep
have
it
enough to
on.
repopulate the species.
I'm not certain that humpback whales necessarily, but there are certain animals that you can start with a smaller population.
Yeah, like a fly.
But can you start with a population of 3?
You can start. Well,
Not a mammal. I don't
She's
think a
got
mammal,
more
like
than
a
one
humpback
inside
whale.
of her. But you can start with smaller populations.
I don't think a complex
yes.
organism. I don't think it would work. Like
How do
that.
you know for sure there's more than one?
She said she's very pregnant. It implies
That just means
she-
it's
No,
his
that
late
just means
term.
she's about to deliver. That doesn't mean there's more than one.
I don't know how that works,
It's
then.
a mammal. It's not a fish. She
Then
doesn't have
maybe
like
then-
12 eggs.
Well, then
They
maybe
have
they
one
can
calf.
genetically
Humpback
grow.
whale has a
they're gonna
one
have
calf
one.
usually. They're like a human.
and it could be twins or something.
Could be twins,
But
right?
very doesn't imply twins. Very
Right.
implies
Well, no.
tomorrow.
Right.
I
My
suppose
wife is
that's
very
true.
pregnant right now. That doesn't mean we're having twins or triplets.
Uh-oh.
Right, I guess you're right.
That means-
about
That'd be a
that.
surprise.
That means she's gonna. No, it wouldn't. 'Cause so we didn't find out gender, but we know there's only one.
Okay.
We looked at an ultrasound.
Oh,
I've
good.
seen it. There's one. I don't know the gender, but I know how many there are. It's really gonna date this commentary. 3 weeks.
Cool.
Ah, here we go.
So now they're going
Is she gonna be-
counterclockwise. No, they're going clockwise around the. They went counterclockwise before, but they're going forward in time.
I'm gonna tell my wife that I told Brandon she was very pregnant, and Brandon was afraid that we were having triplets. That's.
I didn't say anything of the sort now.
Uh oh. Where are we?
So, my biggest complaint with this movie is one that a lot of people lob at it, which is it just takes too long watching the probe and the whales talk to each other.
Yeah, that part goes on a little
while.
And
there's no... It's a really tough thing it's really tough to say how they should have handled it.
Right.
Because the notion... And I said this for a long time as a joke. Apparently they kicked around the notion of subtitles.
Oh, really? For the...
of saying what they were saying back and forth to each other.
That'd be amazing.
So, Brandon, we on screen would be told this is what the probe is saying, and this is what the whales are saying. And it's probably for the best that we didn't do that.
Yeah,
Joseph
exactly.
Sisko.
That's Joseph Sisko, and he's going to
Sisko.
turn out to be a conspirator trying to
Just
get
a minute.
the Klingons all killed.
Yeah.
Let them die.
Let them die.
This looks amazing.
I know.
Yes,
I
it
love
does.
it.
They just happen to go
This
under the
all
bridge,
still
though.
holds up really, really
It's
well.
good.
Yeah, but if you
Look
would
at
do
that.
that shot, Brandon,
It's
right?
a
If you're
great
making this,
shot,
you do that
Brandon.
shot.
Oh, of
You
course
do it
you would.
too.
It's a
Don't
great
pretend
shot.
you wouldn't.
I'm not saying I would, but it's like they just happen to...
No, but my point is,
Look at that.
while
That's great.
we're watching a
That looks
film
like
and
cool.
looking at a story, we go, well, did they have to do that for flair? But
Yes.
if you're making that movie and you're told, like, do this cool
Right.
shot, you're thinking about that one shot for so long.
So they found it, or they had at Paramount an old tank that
from
they used to...
1930.
Yeah, from the 1930s that
Yes.
they used to use for all
and
those...
they hadn't used it, like, since then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't it under the parking lot or something? They had to, like, uncover it.
Yeah, that's right.
See,
and they had to bring the old janitor out of
'Cause
retirement
he's the only one who knew
to
how
crank
to
it.
work it. Yeah.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
That's hilarious. That's amazing.
So I think
Yeah,
you're
the
right
scale
about
might
the
be
scale.
wrong on that. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he is. But I still think this is wrong.
I
The
think
other
the
thing
scale
is
on
right.
that was wrong because that's a small bridge.
I think this is wrong.
Yeah.
You don't think this is wrong?
No, I think this is wrong.
Oh, okay.
Look, now they're drowning.
There's no way.
Oh, that's an EPS conduit putting mainline energy straight into the water.
They're gonna electrocute it.
They should be.
He
But-
should be dead too.
I was going to say
Everyone should be dead.
I was going to say earlier in the shot of the whales inside the, there was definitely air above that water, and one of the ways you can tell is because if you look at the refraction of the light, you can see that there's a top surface of.
They should have made that clearer.
They should have.
They should have
weren't
showed it
thinking
to us.
about it, but it was there because they had lights overhead the tank, and you could see the top. If that
Was
water
there
had
a-
been flat, you would not have been able to see.
Sure,
that.
Brandon, but even still, was there enough space that the whales could have gone up to the top and breathed
I
out
don't
of
know
it?
that there was.
Yeah, it would have been
Because
enough
they're
air.
very
They would-
big,
Yes, they would
and
need
that
a lot
tank
of air.
is not.
Right. I mean,
And I don't know if they had enough maneuvering space to get up there and get the blowhole
Or
over the
enough
water.
air.
exactly.
They would have to. They would have to have like a vent in it.
Shatner does almost all of this himself.
That's pretty great. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, I never noticed that. That you can hear the probe from under the water.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
This is all pretty atmospheric. Like, I actually don't mind how long this takes, just
Right.
because of the spectacle of it, because we
Right.
haven't had a lot of action in this movie, and
Right.
so when we get there, they
That
really
looks
they
great.
go to
I love
town.
that. There's some
See,
air.
there's the air
There's the air.
escaping
There's
now,
a little
but
bit of air.
it's not a lot.
Actually, it looks like smoke to me.
It looks like the top of the turtle van from the '87 show, like underwater. Mm-hmm.
Kirk should be like out of breath
He should
by
be
now.
dead.
There's this.
He's not a Japanese pearl diver. But then again, he does free climb El Capitan, which we'll get to in
That's
the
true.
next film.
Look, Starfleet training is just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you don't
He's the top
realize
of the
is that they
shape with a
could
beer
all
belly.
do that.
Yes.
Uhura could do it.
Yeah.
Chekhov could do it. They could all do that.
Yeah.
Sulu wanted to do it, and then Kirk was like, "No, it's my show."
Yeah.
We talked about this before,
That's
but
cool.
of course, like with the
Ah,
other movies,
That looked really like
Kirk
a prop.
Kirk
No,
had to
that's
be.
good.
I
I
thought
thought
it
it
looked
was
good.
good.
Kirk,
That looks good too.
Kirk had to be involved in every major decision that happens in the story, of course.
Right.
So when we get to the end and Spock and Sarek are talking,
Mhm.
Kirk is going to be standing off to the side listening to them for no reason.
I know, he's just standing there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really unfortunate if they got there and then it was like, oh no, we were wrong. They were actually speaking something that was slightly different
gray
from
whale.
We got
the wrong one. Baleen.
What the whales are really saying is, I'm sorry, you guys, we don't know what we're doing.
This is the right whales.
We talked over at the beginning, but one of my favorite lines in this movie, for whatever reason, is when McCoy says, "So we gotta just hope that these whales can tell the probe what to go do with itself."
Yeah.
I was like that.
Yeah. Oh,
So I guess the response is just decides, I'm done.
I guess that was his automated. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we have no idea what conversation they're having.
It's like a cigarette.
And is it just it does look like a cigarette.
Why is it flipping over?
I never noticed that.
It's communicating. It does like.
Yeah, that's how it communicates. It's a didgeridoo. Okay, Brandon, you speak whale, and I'll speak probe. Okay.
See.
We do the whole commentary.
No, now it's just somebody
Yeah.
else decide holding a hose on.
Whale.
And then Adam, you can be the didgeridoo.
No, everybody's turned this off.
Yeah, this is the commentary. What else is there to say right now? So long and thanks for all the fish. So sad that it has come to this.
Yeah. Okay, what are we
close
looking
up of
at
his
here?
eye. It's the whale. It's his eye.
Well, we're looking
Whale
at
eye.
whale eye.
I spy with my
They
giant
got
whale
in
eye.
big trouble because they went to a whale and they shot the eyeball right up close. No, they didn't. And so the ball was the thing that was doing the communicating, apparently.
Yeah.
Well,
When
that
they
was
bring
like
it back
the
in, it's
antenna.
just the doomsday machine.
Yeah. It looks like a piece of charcoal that you draw with.
It really, it really does look like
Pretty sure
a
that's what it
cigarette, though. But like, and so we're making fun of the shape of it and stuff, but it looks amazing,
It
right?
does look
Like,
great. It looks
Yeah.
great.
it's not. It doesn't look like
And it
a.
looks totally alien.
It doesn't look like a
nothing
sock.
we've
It
seen
looks like
like-
nothing you've seen before.
I like
But it's so
how
simple too.
It's simple. Yeah.
I like how
It
it's
was probably
dark
very
in
easy
space
to
like it
automate.
would be, and it's just
Sure.
reflecting the sun off in the distance.
No, exactly. Yeah, it's just the light hitting it is what makes it look so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because they
It
made
adds
that
to
look
the
so
mystery.
believable.
But
So,
yeah, that
at the end of the day,
cruiser's
okay,
small.
it's only like a minute and a half, but it feels like it's 5
Right.
minutes. Like,
Now somebody's just holding a hose on him.
And everything starts to go back to normal. I feel like it would take a lot longer for the environment to
We
recover.
reversed the footage.
Is that what's going on?
I think so.
yeah, how
No, 'cause
how
the
bad
probe's
off?
not out.
But Brandon, I'm not sure how bad off the
No, I mean
environment
for the-
was
the
because
Earth
I don't
part.
know.
No.
I don't know how busted up everything had gotten by that point. Like, I don't think it had started like sucking up the water of the oceans and stuff yet.
Well, it was ionizing the atmosphere.
But they've
Oh,
been
is that what it
it
was
literally
doing?
happened for like 5 minutes. They had like
Yeah.
literally said, get him back, and the thing crashes. So
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
I haven't really been going on that long.
Uh,
Spock was really
in-
good
in
at
the-
getting them back.
In
So
the
why
oral
is Spock
history,
laughing here?
Because it's literally
Because he's
Nimoy,
Leonard Nimoy.
and they're just messing around really at this
it's
point.
true.
No, that's exactly right. That's
It's
what's going on.
True.
They use
Oh,
footage
man.
they should not have used.
That's
He
kind
is
of true.
he is quite out of character
That's
at that
real.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they shot it with a long lens.
Right.
In the oral history in the 50-year mission,
Great.
they
This is highly illogical, Captain.
Mhm.
Why have you pulled me into the water?
somebody says I forget who. It's like I think it was a reviewer in a magazine or a newspaper. Somebody says, when I first saw this, I wondered
Enjoying.
why a Star Trek movie had Christmas music.
So this is the Federation Council. Well, that's the council.
They
These
said that
are people
earlier,
in
yeah.
attendance.
Yep.
Right.
No, I think the council is just the people in the chairs.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. That must be what it is. So they have their meeting before they bring in the accused, and then they bring the accused in apparently just to sentence them?
Sure.
Yeah, it's because he's on their trial. They were tried in absentia. That's what it
Oh,
was.
okay. That's probably what it was. So there was an argument that that Harv Bennett and Adam Rathcon director.
Oh,
I can't think of his name. Nicholas Meyer. Bennett and Meyer had a hard time agreeing on how this movie should end. Meyer really wanted to not have this bookend, and apparently Harv Bennett was all about bookends. So Bennett felt like we needed to have this whole bit where they go down the list of charges, and Meyer thought it would have been enough for them to just come back and be on a space station or something and wondering what they were waiting around for, and then the Enterprise shows up, and that, and that would be good enough. And I don't know who I agree with more.
I can understand why they did it, to explain them what, maybe, I don't know, to give it more closure on why he was given then command after having done all this stuff, because he just saved Earth, basically.
Yeah, well, I think the idea is that would have been kind of given to us in a line of dialogue.
That's true.
Like, maybe you don't need this whole scene.
Maybe you did, yeah.
I think part of the reason this is here is just to remind us that we're in a Star Trek movie.
Right. That's true.
Like we need to come back and live in the world we were living in at the beginning for a couple of minutes again.
Right.
And also, this feels like a real TOS ending.
What the hell is that? What was that?
This is, a Star Wars race. But don't you think this is how an original series episode would have ended this?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, totally.
Look at those guys.
A feel good ending.
They're like cue balls.
Even though Kirk's demoted, he gets exactly what he wants.
And then there's a bat guy.
And a bald guy. Bravo.
Yeah,
He's really hamming it up.
Yeah, and arguably, in getting his quote-unquote punishment of being thrown back to captain, he's getting what he should have been doing all along.
Right.
That he never should have been an admiral in the first place.
I didn't know why that lady was there. She was a Starfleet cadet uniform.
Knew it.
And, I mean, you can't say that mistake leads to everything happening, because Khan still probably gets the Reliant and all of that. I do still think it was a mistake never to bring her back.
I like that she's wearing a variant of the uniform that, or similar to what Marcus and them were wearing in the previous two films.
That's right. Unnecessarily low cut, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Why does it have to be goodbye and then they never revisit her?
Mm.
She was a great character.
And I mean, I think a lot of it is the acting before it's what they gave her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I do like, even on the page, how she responds to, yeah, Kirk, this is not your business. Just
go away.
Leave well enough alone.
Oh, those guys, look.
Oh yeah, they brought those.
I love those things.
Those suits back.
Yeah.
You should cosplay that, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon, you should wear those helmets.
Quit giving me things to do where.
Oh, you don't want to cosplay that?
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're cool, but no.
I thought you might want to cosplay. I wasn't even making fun of you. I just thought maybe you would want to cosplay that. I don't know.
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
I still want that velour suit though.
When I'm elderly, I'll go with Sarek.
Yes.
Then you can put your hands in your robe.
Right. No, but
he really is into jewelry.
I'll be TNG Sarek, and I'll just run around losing my mind.
I must have my logic. I must have
my control. It's illogical.
You gonna do?
It's illogical.
What does Picard say when he's? Fuck.
I would have showed them such tenderness.
That chamber cleared out quickly.
Party's over.
True.
And what?
They beamed out. They beamed out. He just stood there and listened to all of that.
He's just watching a tender moment.
He's like waiting for his friend. He's like, all right, are we going to go?
He just is totally involved in that private moment.
We didn't talk about that.
Son.
It's really important that Sarek basically comes out and says to Spock, like, your human side, it turns out, is maybe not a bad thing.
Right.
and your friends are good people, and I'm glad that you embraced that side as much as you did, because otherwise you wouldn't be here right now.
Right.
But why should he have such a problem with his human side when he's with a human? That I never understood.
Because it's your classic you want your kid to grow up and be you thing.
Right.
Marrying a human for Sarek is very different than raising one.
Right.
True.
That's a great reveal.
And the problem with the A is it kind of looks like the original.
I mean, it is exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just an A.
Yep.
So wait a second. This is on the heels of the last one where they said there will be no new Enterprise.
They just then there's like a lot of theory that they just renamed another Constitution class ship Enterprise and gave it to them, which means they had to kick a whole crew off from it. Maybe they're getting ready to decommission it too.
Yeah, or it was going to go in mothballs.
This is the first time we see these graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
is that because of Okuda?
Because of
Okuda, yeah.
Nice.
And I like this because this is a good callback to TOS with the pictures and stuff, I feel like.
Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of that. Yeah. It should be pictures from previous films.
That would be fun.
No, that would be great. But no, this movie still way holds up.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
Old
And
San Francisco.
with the exception of the Saavik thing,
Yeah.
and I don't even know how much I wanted her to actually have Spock's kid.
Right.
It just sucks that they cut
Talk
out
on bus.
one
Kirk
thing.
Thatcher. Yeah.
This is not one where I look at other ideas they had and feel like it was super watered down and that it should have been much different than it was. I don't know that we lost out on that much.
Right.
It's pretty well the complete piece that it should have been, I think.
Right. Oh, there's that lady again.
And of course, Wrath of Khan's that way too. But you go back and hear things about 3, and you're like, oh, why didn't you do that?
Right.
You go back and hear things about 5, and you're like, why did you let this movie get made?
Why did you let this movie get made? Oh man, all that.
You go back and look at things about 1, and you're like, well, why didn't you just make the TV show that you were making? I know why they didn't do that, but
We need to talk about in 5 how he brought in scabs because the Teamsters were on strike and stuff.
oh, it's gonna be so much fun to talk about. Yeah. I think this was. I'm trying to remember if Robert Fletcher did 5 also. I think this was his last movie.
Okay.
I think he did 1. No, he did 1 through 4. That's what
That
it was.
feels like it's a little different angle there of that.
So I won't get to talk about him anymore.
Because I don't remember seeing the cable car in the background.
Oh, yeah, or is it just backed out?
Maybe
Did they crop it?
No, I think it might be
In
a
the
different
film?
angle.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that's weird if we're seeing new footage here, but that we didn't see before either. Them climbing out the top?
Yeah,
Or
we
did
saw him
we?
just start to climb out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We saw the thing go.
Yeah, the hatch got blown
Yeah.
open and.
Leonard Rossman in the Yellow Jacket.
It will be weird if the next Abrams film
That's the woman, Susan Sackett. That's
also
that
tries to be a comedy.
one. Yeah.
If it goes time travel and comedy. There's
Yeah.
a lot of speculation that
So
it will
is
be
that
time travel
Tarantino
because...
thing dead?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
The Tarantino thing is fascinating because it once again, dating this commentary. So what we initially heard was Tarantino pitched a thing that was separate from the Abrams continuity, but we don't know what it is, and it's
Right.
rated R and something, and we don't know what it is.
Right.
Then recently, and take this with a grain of salt, Zachary Quinto made it sound like they were acting like, at least from his perspective, the way he's heard people at Paramount talk, like they are involved in that.
Huh. Weird.
But I don't know, and I'm not sure how much I can take in that. So I have no idea. But they are different projects.
Okay.
They might be different projects that
computer
both
company.
use that crew, or that maybe have, like, I don't know, cameos or a trade-off or something with that
Right.
crew. I have no idea. I don't know what's going on with that. But with and we'll talk about this when we get to the Abrams movies. But you know, obviously, Darkness had to be Wrath of Khan again.
Right.
Their third movie, Beyond, is not Search for Spock again, but they do blow up the Enterprise.
Right.
the fourth movie, I will be very surprised if it's not time travel and a comedy.
Right.
Or at least time travel. But we know that George Kirk is in that movie, and he's dead. And a lot of people think that he's going to turn out to have just survived. But the problem with that is the ages, I don't think, would really line up.
No, but they had to put Hemsworth in a bunch of old age.
He would have to have been like frozen in time
or something.
So I would be surprised if it wasn't a time travel thing.
Yeah.
But even if it was a time travel thing, he also couldn't play his younger self because he looks so different.
Right.
Yeah.
I have no idea what they'll end up doing with that. But anyway, well, folks, thanks a lot for listening. Sure appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed our commentary on Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. Thank you guys for doing it.
Absolutely.
Sure appreciate it.
Awesome.
And next time we're gonna do The Final Frontier, which I'm really excited about. It's gonna be so much fun to talk through that movie.
God.
I made Eric watch that finally a few months ago. We did He Made Me Watch on that, and that was a lot of fun to talk about. But this will be the first time I've done it watching it, so looking forward to that. Wait, this will now be the fourth or fifth video I've made about Star Trek V. So anyway, thanks a lot for listening, folks. Sure appreciate it, and we will see you again next time, probably in a couple weeks. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.
And I'm Adam.